here to investigate the death of a nun.
On September 7th, witness the darkest chapter, the Defiler, in the Conjuring universe.
I had a series of visions when I was younger. And after each one, the same thought would be stuck in my head.
What did you see?
I saw a nun. Hello.
The Nun.
Aloha! This is Trinidad, the Island Man, your Island Man, coming to you live once again from beautiful, as if you could see it here in the dark, Hawaii, here on the island of Oahu, giving you, yes you, the best movie reviews on the entire island of Oahu. And yes, this is Trinidad, the Island Man, your Island Man. And tonight, Thursday night, what is it, September 6th? I saw the opening night of The Nun. Now, the posters say that this is the scariest chapter in all of the Conjuring universe. Woo! And if you remember my rating, I think from close to this time last year, of Annabelle 2 Creations, this was very much the same, The Nun. And it was in that movie that The Nun was actually presented to us. You know, that we got an inkling of that The Nun was coming. We didn't really know what The Nun was. So remember our rating scale. Shock a thumbs up. It's good to see. I recommend it. Shock a thumbs down. It's junk. I don't recommend it. And for The Nun, it is a shock a thumbs down. I cannot recommend this movie to you unless you're just going to watch it on Netflix, on streaming, on iTunes. That's the only time you should see this movie. Don't even bother with it at matinee. If you want to go see this movie, if you are a die-hard fan of the Conjuring movies, of the Annabelle movies, and you want to, just round out, I guess, the trilogy and check out this movie, The Nun, go right ahead, but only do it for the $6 on Tuesday at Consolidated, or $7 on Tuesday. $7 on Tuesday at Consolidated, or $6 on Tuesday at Regal. That is the only time you should see this movie if you want to see it in the theater. It was not worth the $10, $15 to go see this. And I couldn't even recommend it during the matinee. It did have some humorous parts to it. Some funny parts to it, which is not the reason you're supposed to go to a horror movie or a scary movie. Much of this movie really, like I put in my Instagram post, felt like a combination of Drag Me to Hell, Sam Raimi's movie that came out a few years back, and combined, especially maybe 3/4 of it, with the very first Tales from the Crypt movie, where, if you remember that movie, if not, it was a very good movie. Even though it didn't do very well at the box office. Check it out on video, on streaming, Netflix might even have it. The very first Tales from the Crypt movie. Not part 2. Part 2 wasn't all that good, but part 1 was an excellent movie. And basically involved demons, and kind of a savior who saves people from these demons using an artifact with the blood of Christ, which, spoilers, is used in this movie. You know, so and of course, you know, in mythology, you know, legend, you know, there are the, you know, it is said that the Vatican, parts of the high Catholic Church areas may even possess some of these artifacts, such as the blood of Christ, to use in such extreme emergencies against demonic entities. You know, this goes into a long line of ancient Catholic artifacts, I guess Judeo-Christian artifacts, such as, you know, the Spear of Destiny, which we have also seen in many movies. And what gives the Spear of Destiny its power is that it was covered with the blood of Christ when the Roman soldier stabbed, you know, Christ when he was being crucified on the cross with it. So I'm not exactly well versed in that, in those legends. So I'm not sure when they took this blood from Christ, but one would assume it was around his crucifixion time. You know, that the church, you know, filled up these vials of, you know, of Christ's blood to use for such emergencies. That is the only spoiler that I will give in this movie. If you see that first movie from Tales of the Crypt, you will get essentially what happens in the third act of this movie, using that blood of Christ to, you know, stave off the nun. So this is set in 1952, Romania. Very much like the very Annabelle creations, kind of drops at the end of the movie. That, you know, you get a vision of this nun in Romania, where the nun in Annabelle creations had studied, and so she knew of some of this legend, I believe, and so you find out that this is also connected. It opens up with what you had seen in The Conjuring about, I think there was this painting of this character, the nun, this demonic entity, the nun, by one of the you know, demon searchers, demonologists there, you know, the two paranormal people from The Conjuring that hunt this down. And you get a little clip of that at the end. Essentially what I believe takes place in this movie is that the demon, well, I don't know. It seemed like the demon from the nun, or the nun that is the demon, is related to the same demon from Annabelle and related to the same demonic entity from The Conjuring. You know, I'm not 100% sure on that. You know, they are demons, you know, so from hell, so they could all be related in that sense. But it seemed very similar to that. So maybe we will get a movie eventually in this universe that has all three of these demons or demonic entities in them. You know, but again, this starts off in 1952. A nunnery convent in Romania is being devastated by this demonic presence. A priest from the Catholic Church has to go investigate, and for whatever reason, the Vatican says you have to take this nun with you. You know, so these two individuals from the Catholic Church, these emissaries, go to this convent where a nun had committed suicide, you know, I guess to discover if the ground was still holy, is what they say. And they discover that it definitely is not. What the Vatican fails to tell them is that there is actually a demonic gateway within this, you know, convent, that the nuns there have sworn to try to guard and keep safe from opening. However, in apparently the bombs that fell somewhere during World War II had hit the convent, opening up what the Catholic Church had long ago sealed using the blood of Christ, this gateway to hell, so that demonic demons could not come out and possess and wreak havoc upon the world. Now, the bombs opened up this portal, and only the nuns themselves were able to hold it back, I guess up until 1952, where this demonic presence finally kills off the rest of the nuns. Or, as we find out in a twist, actually the nuns kill themselves so that it is not, so that it does not have a vessel, such as the doll in Annabelle, to go about and affect the physical world. And fully enter our dimension. However, these are things that the Vatican could have told the priest so that he would know what to expect. And then why send this other, this nun with the priest when they know that it needs a physical presence to there? And why not tell them about the gateway to hell? This is just stuff they stumble upon in their own studies. So they are really caught flat-footed, and through the first half of the movie, all the way up until the third act, they're pretty much stumped on what's going on. Finally, in the third act, you get some action. There are a lot of jump scares in this, which I found very humorous. And again, very much like a Sam Raimi kind of movie. The priest, the nun is looking in one place, sees some movement, looks over there, there's nothing there. And then all of a sudden, from behind them, boo! The nun jumps out, some demon jumps out, some fear from their past jumps out to scare them, and oh my goodness, and then it's gone, or they run away from it. So if you're looking to be scared outside of the jump scares, I found the jump scares very humorous. I was expecting something a little bit more dreadful, given from what I'd heard how good The Conjuring was. I had seen Annabelle Creations and heard it, and heard the first one was junk. And I felt that the second one was junk as well. And again, I found that very humorous and very odd, that why would people do this to these people when there's a demonic presence. And once again, this is a very formulaic film, whereas the Vatican does not tell this priest who's going to go check out this area what to expect, what could happen. Very much as the father in Annabelle Creations, the parents don't tell the little girl, the little children that they bring into their household that, hey, we had a demon running around the house at one point, but don't worry, he's trapped now. But we'll just go ahead and skip all that. Good night. So that's pretty much it. And it, so at the end, it's, at the end of the third act, it's a fairly pleasant, adventure-like movie. Very much, like I said, like the very first Tales from the Crypt movie, where the blood of Christ is used to what seems to be seal up this gate in hell and prevent this demon, who is the nun, from getting out. However, there's a little nod at the end that, the entity actually did escape. However, fortunately, the original father and the sister, the nun that and the priest that get out, that go to investigate, do get out alive to tell their tale. However, the entity, the evil that had gone through the gate before, who was this nun, finds a person in the town nearby to possess and thus wreak havoc. And this becomes like one of the, occult tales that the investigators from The Conjuring go look at, and possibly may even have determined that it's the same demonic entity rolling around throughout these years, into the 60s with The Conjuring. And, who knows? I'm not exactly sure on how this is all connected, other than they're saying it's the same, scary universe, I guess. But it very well could be the same demon. I don't know. Again, shock a thumbs down. If you're looking for a scary, terrifying movie, keep looking. This isn't it. I was hoping that it would be a little bit more interesting. There is some mythology that you get, again, once you get into the third act with the action, that does make it a little bit more interesting, and thus the comparisons with Tales from the Crypt, that first movie, using the artifact of the blood of Christ to stop these demons and seal the gateway to hell, was somewhat interesting finally. But to get to that point was pretty much all laughable, through the first and the second act, unfortunately. I don't know. I don't understand how these movies are doing so well, that people seem to love them. The theater tonight, Thursday night, was not very well packed. Maybe Friday night will be better. I doubt this will become the #1 movie for the weekend, but we will see. I don't see what the box office predictions are. There's only another new big movie out, and that's Peppermint, and I don't think either of those are going to break the box office. I think The Nun will beat out Peppermint, but I think maybe The Meg and Crazy Rich Asians will maintain their dominance over the box office for this weekend, still waiting for another larger movie to sweep in and take over. All right, thank you so much. This is Trinidad the Island Man, your Island Man, saying stay away from The Nun, not because it's too scary, but it's not scary enough. All right, thank you so much, and aloha.